Nope.
Because of everything that has been going on in the world, I found myself having problems living in my apartment. My job kept cutting my hours. I had my savings, but if I didn't want to go through it all, I would have to start cutting costs. No more ordering food, no more snacks, maybe beans and rice for a month. Aside from my money woes, my roommates were the worst. They had also been forced to stay at home, and while I liked the two people I lived with, after they lounged around the apartment, I found I only liked the idea of them. They had gotten lazy without a job. Or maybe before they were never around enough to create such a mess. My country dealt with the lockdown much different than I heard others had. People who had full-time jobs that had their workplaces closed received a percentage of the wage that they earned every month. My roommates found they could live with a lesser amount. I was deemed essential and kept working, much to my dismay. That was my frame of mind when I started to look for somewhere else to live. I officially wasn't on the lease, so I could leave any time. I would give them the last month's rent and plenty of notice before just leaving. After one roommate exploded God knows what in the microwave, I started to doubt if they even deserved any respect at all. Aside from my unaware tormentors, I had another reason for wanting to leave. A cat. The cutest cat I had ever seen in my entire life. But roommate number 1 was allergic, and roommate number 2 fed his childhood cat to nearly 30 pounds and an early death. I couldn't risk him sneaking any pet snacks behind my back. I started to look for something, fully doubting I would be able to find a place before my time ran out. The cat I was looking at was at a shelter. I would be happy if he went to a good home besides mine. But I've never wanted anything so badly before. Any spare time I had was spent looking for apartment listings, but all were out of my price range. On top of trying to adopt a new pet, mind you. It was a bad idea to drain my funds, moving, and getting a cat at the same time. If he got sick, I wouldn't be able to spend the money on him. Fretting as the days went by, I decided I would expand my search to any kind of rental. I would live in someone's basement if they let me bring a pet. And then I saw it. A condo for rent, far too cheap to be real. It had 3 bedrooms. 2 were pretty small, but that was fine. The place had 3 floors, washer and dryer included, and the basement was almost finished. Nothing this nice should have this cheap of a rent. Of course, I checked to see if there were any murders or weird deaths in the area, but I couldn't find anything. No rumors of it being built on a cemetery or anything like that. I called up and grilled whoever I could, asking why the rent was so cheap. I finally reached the owner, and he said it was because he priced it so low just to get someone to rent it. For some reason, no one was interested in renting the place, so he kept dropping the price. For a year, the place had sat. People would come and do a tour, but backed out, saying they had found other options. Just unlucky for him, I guess, but perfect for me. After my research, I decided this was going to be my place. My move was a fast one. The condo felt a bit empty having so much room to myself. I would need to fill it up with furniture later, but first, I was going to adopt my cat. My cat was nothing special, to be honest. Just a normal black and white tuxedo that looked like any other tuxedo cat that you could find. He was a bit older too, at least 10 years old, so that's why he sat in the shelter for so long. His name was Max, which I decided to keep. I know some people renamed their adopted pet, but that felt strange. He had been Max for 10 years. Why try and change it now? I couldn't explain why I loved him so much, but I did. He was a big cat too. Not fat, just a big boy. And vocal. I found that out the moment I saw him. He chattered and made noises I have never heard a cat make before. Sometimes he would meow in a way that sounded like a full-grown man just said the word meow. So, when I heard noises at 2:43 a.m., a week after moving and getting Max, I thought it was him. I sat up in bed, trying to hear better. On the first floor, I heard a hello. "Max?" I called out, thinking it was him meowing again. The noises were weird, but Max was a weird cat. And they were cute. I've never heard someone say hello out loud before, and that was exactly what it sounded like. After his first few hellos, he ended it with a big "How?" He woke me up at least 2 nights a week with his weird hellos. I tried to record the noise to show people, but every time I touched my phone, the noises stopped. It's like he was taunting me. I knew cats had a good sense of time, but I had no idea how he kept crying at 2:43 a.m. on the dot. The noises were cute at first. I could snicker at him, then go back to sleep. But then I got a shift change, so I had to wake up at 5 a.m. for work. Suddenly, the cute hellos waking me up at 2:43 a.m. were not so cute. I have issues sleeping. Once I'm awake, it takes me at least 30 minutes to fall back asleep. On top of that, I was very bad at going to bed on time. When my shift changed, Max started waking me up every night at the same time. Downstairs, clear as day, he cried out, "Hello? Hi? Hello?" I loved this cat, but I was getting cranky from the lack of sleep. I made sure he was fed before bed. When I went downstairs to check on him, he was sitting in his chair by the window. His food bowl and water dish were both full. He did have a toy stuffed with catnip, and I didn't know if that was the thing that was causing him to be hyper in the middle of the night. Even after hearing the hello from him, I never actually saw him make the sound. It always stopped when I started to get out of bed. I didn't know why he was crying at night. It crushed my heart thinking he was missing his old family and looking for them. Max had an indent in his fur where it was clear he wore a collar most of his life. I have no idea what could cause someone to give up a cat they loved for 10 years. I could only hope that they were doing well, and Max was happy with me. He seemed happy. For a full week of losing out on sleep, I finally had a weekend off. I was ready to just crash the entire Saturday and went to bed early on Friday. But for me, Early was midnight. I was asleep for a few hours, and then I heard Max crying again.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Hi.
He was getting much better at sounding like a person. A lot of practice, I guess. Max, please, I begged, the lack of sleep getting to me. I opened my eyes, and in the dark, I had enough light from the streetlights outside to see a shape of something on my bed. I squinted just as a little cat head turned towards me. I was so happy that Max finally trusted me enough to sleep on the bed next to me before it dawned on me. The hello came from downstairs, only a second ago. Max was a big cat. I would have felt him jump on my bed if he had just got there. My body turned to ice as I stared at my sweet Max in the dark. If he was right there, then who was making those noises? As if to answer my mental question, something spoke right by my ear.
Hello.
The same voice I had been hearing for the past week spoke so close to me that its breath moved my hair. I was looking right at Max, so I knew it wasn't him. I did what anyone else would do. I jumped out of my bed, screaming like a banshee. I ran over to my light and turned it on. After seeing nothing in my room, I then did something else that any normal person would. I grabbed my cat and went to my parents' place. My mother thought I was overreacting. She swore I just had a bad dream, and there was no need for me to drive to their place in the middle of the night, cat in tow. My father, bless him, went back to my place to check it out. He wanted to make sure no weirdo broke in and was hiding under the bed. He found nothing. No tampered locks, no places for someone to hide, no sign that anyone broke in. All he really found out was that I was a bit of a slob when I wasn't getting enough sleep. Because I was saving money on rent, I bought a security camera. I ran it by my landlord first in order to get permission before installing it. He was surprisingly nice. He offered to come by and check the place out, and to make sure the camera above my front door had all of the blind spots covered. He made sure no windows were faulty, and even offered to have my locks changed in case someone somehow had a key. I arrived home from work just as he was finishing up with the locksmith. I thanked him for going out of his way and worrying about me. I had only told him I had a scare and thought there was a chance someone had gotten into my place. I feel a little silly doing all of this. I really could have dreamed the entire thing, I admitted to him. I invited him in so he could pet Max and have a cup of coffee. Dream or not, you can't be too safe. You're a single woman living alone. The neighborhood is a good one, but I want you to feel safe sleeping at night, either way. It's too bad the last renters took their cameras with them, he commented, sitting on the floor, clearly in love with Max. Cameras? Did the last renters have issues too? I asked, feeling the hair on the back of my neck rise. Well, not really. The last person who lived here was an older, retired woman. Her husband was with her, but he passed away. He was at bingo, I think. Anyway, She went downhill fast after that. She was calling the cops, saying someone kept breaking in. If that was true, I would have told you. Her family set up cameras but never saw anything. Because of her mental state, her family moved her into an assisted living home. The poor woman passed away soon after that. Natural causes. Heart attack, I think. I sent the family flowers. She was so nice. She also had a cat, if I'm not mistaken. He sorta kinda looked like this one, but skinnier. Honestly, all cats look the same to me. Somehow, what he said made me more stressed out. Of course, the woman was seeing things, hearing things. I'm sure the police came and found nothing. We have been over the entire place and found no crawl spaces for anyone to hide in or anything like that. My locks were changed, and the camera was set up. I was going to be fine. But my landlord's last comment made me doubt that, and seriously made me consider finding a new place or moving back in with my parents. The poor woman. Alzheimer's is an awful thing. Made her think that there was someone sneaking up beside her at night. I mean, what person breaking into a place would announce themselves with a big hello? Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this week's story. If you did, you know what to do. Go to that like button and just pet it like a little kitty. Pet it like a little kitty. Shout out to the author of this story, Reddit user 02321. I am not sure what that number represents, but I'm sure it's important. Check out their Reddit page and a link to their Wattpad down below if you want to check out more of their stories. And also another thank you to the author for reminding me why I'm a dog person. Down below, if you're a cat person, I want to know why. Or if you're a dog person, I need you to have my back and let them know why you're a dog person. Until next time, everybody, remember to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.